marriage is a really big commitment for the people. But it's not only a commitment that says, I'm going to stay with you for the rest of my life. It's a commitment that says, I'm going to carry on finding out about you for the rest of my life. There's always more of you to discover. And when we heard that, we thought, oh my goodness, what a beautiful description of marriage, and actually a Christian understanding of marriage, that there are infinite depths to the other person which we need to go on exploring. And the danger in marriage is that the longer we're married, the more we think we know what the other person is just about to say, what they're thinking, and we may be wrong.
Hey crew, it is Adam and Emily, and you are here listening to the conversation. Whatever is going on in your day, thank you for taking the next 45 minutes to hang out with us.
Let's go. We're so excited you're here.
Yeah, we truly are. This is episode 313. We're back for week 3 of our fun marriage series. If you listened to this episode and you enjoyed, make sure you go check out the last 2. Full of good stuff, full of so much wisdom, so much knowledge. You really would not want to miss those ones either.
I've loved this series. This episode is my favorite one in the marriage series.
Really?
They were so fun. There are a couple that I've wanted to connect with for years, like over a decade. I've wanted to connect with them, and so they were awesome. Good. I told them right from the get-go, I'm like, you guys are the coolest people ever. So very, very cool.
Before we get any further, we have some awesome partners that we want to give a shout out to. Adam, who do we got?
Yeah, our first partner today is Generous Coffee. And Generous Coffee doesn't just sell delicious coffee that I drink literally every single day. We get right out there.
Yeah, that's their coffee
I'm a big
machine.
Fan of Generous Coffee, but they don't just sell amazing coffee. They also make a positive impact by donating 100% of the money they make to nonprofits to help others all around the world. The church I pastor has brewed Generous Coffee now for years. The response, consistently, has been amazing. Our people at the church love it. Our staff that interacts with Generous loves it as well. If your church or business brews coffee on a regular basis, you can buy the coffee in bulk. That's what we do here. And again, a lot of times you work with a company, the customer service is really, really bad. The customer service with Generous is amazing. Our team gushes over them. And also when we did a price check on other places to get coffee, even the cheap, major companies, Generous was cheaper. I've told their founder is a buddy of mine, Ben Higgins. I've told him that. I'm like, you guys are unbelievably realistic. So it's unbelievable. Go check out generouscoffee.com and get some coffee. I'm just so braggish about them because I'm like, A, it's amazing. B, you're they give everything away.
Good, yeah.
And then customer service, I'm like, C, their customer service kills. So they're awesome.
Hit all the points.
So Generous Coffee. Our second partner is Vern Eide Mitsubishi. Vern Eide is a growing, employee-owned, faith-based company that strives to deliver dreams and transform lives. And Vern Eide is a company that I know very, very well. From their owner to their staff, they're incredible. And really what gets lost, they sell cars. So they sell cars, they sell tractors, boats, all this kind of stuff. But it's a company that's constantly giving back to the community around it. Almost any event, almost any nonprofit is constantly talking about Vern Eide because of how generous they are. Now, what does that have to do with buying a car? Well, it's A, I can get an awesome car, amazing service, and then also make a positive impact. Awesome. So if you're looking for an Outlander like I drive, whether you're looking for an Acura, you're looking for a Honda, GMC, name the make of vehicle, they'll have it. No matter where you live, they'll ship it to you. verneide.com. Every time I start talking about them, I just start getting more excited. I'm
literally the whole time.
Any nonprofit, it's we want to thank our biggest our biggest sponsor, Vern Eide Motorcars. I'm like, who do they not help? So it's awesome.
Yes, they are great. So again, we're back for week 3 of our 4-week marriage series.
Let's go.
This week we got Nicky and Sila Lee on.
Yes.
Can you just tell me some highlights, what you guys talked about, what you enjoyed most?
So really quick about them. So they are the marriage people of England.
Okay.
Like, so they, if you've heard of Nicky Gumbel, HTB Church, or the Alpha Course, they lead the marriage part of the Alpha. So like kind of legends, that's what I was looking forward to them. What I just loved was how like basic things. So often in marriage, you're like, I got to do these huge things in order to have a great marriage. They just talked about these little things and how the little things become big things. So I just thought it was super life-giving.
Yeah.
It was super practical. We also talk about sex, which is awkward and yet is a really important thing to talk about in marriage on a regular basis. And so they just talked about it in a non-awkward way, which I really, really appreciated. So you're going to love this conversation. Enjoy. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
just very, very grateful. So the two of you, how long have you been married?
We have been married 49 years and 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, 49 years.
Something like that, yeah.
And do you come from healthy marriages?
Yes.
What
we do.
share that?
Both our families. So I grew up, mum and dad in Scotland. I'm a Scot, and I have an older sister and a younger brother. And we grew up in the middle of nowhere in the Highlands, and it was a very, very normal, very happy upbringing. My dad had a very traditional faith. My mum, not really, but we used to go to church, and then I went to schools which had kind of, faith-based schools, but I didn't really have a personal relationship with Jesus. And though I believed in God, I would definitely say I believed in God, but I thought, well, that's for when I'm about 85 and it's a bit more relevant. And then we both actually came to faith at a university mission when we were 19. And the same time we were going out. We'd already met when we were teenagers. We'd been going out for nearly 2 years, but not with a personal relationship.
Yes.
And then your family, pretty similar. And I'm the middle of three kids, and then you're...
I'm the middle with two siblings as well. And my parents were happily married for their lifetime, not church going. So I had a very...
Except Christmas, possibly.
Yeah, very regular Christmas. We always went on Christmas Day. So that was quite an occasion, really. And then somebody talked to me. I met somebody who started to talk to me about a personal relationship with Jesus at university. And I was intrigued and fascinated. And that gradually led to us giving our lives to Jesus 6 months later.
And Nicky Gumbel came to faith at the same time. So,
but Nicky had been a very close friend of mine since I was 13 years old at school. No. And Nicky has always been the kindest friend. I mean, before he was a Christian, since he was a Christian, he's always been such a kind friend. And it was because of his kindness when after we'd given our lives to Jesus, we were so excited. We rushed back to tell Nicky, and Nicky was horrified. And Nicky started reading the Bible simply to convince us that it was full of inconsistencies, that you couldn't trust it to stop us becoming Christians. And then as he read it, he realized, gosh, this is the truth. So it was out of his kindness towards us. That's why Nicky became
and we all became, so we all became Christians together. And then 6 months later, Ken Costa, who was also at Cambridge, he became a Christian, and loads of our contemporaries, which was just amazing. And so then to end up, Nicky went off to be a barrister, Nicky went to teach, I went to art college, and blah, blah, blah.
Ken went to the city to pay for it all.
Yes. And then we came, but we all attended HTB before we ever got ordained and stuff. And then, and then came back under Sandy, which was amazing.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
I guess the thing that informs why we ended up, I think, focusing a lot on relationships was because when we started going out, we were not Christians, and so we just basically did it the way of the world. We did our relationship our way. We thought it was, all great. And then when we came to faith, it was amazing. Nobody told us, but the Holy Spirit really convicted us of doing it God's way. And so there was quite a lot that had to change. We had to stop sleeping together. We had to think in a whole different way and learn a whole lot of different things. And I guess it was 2.5 years from the point we came to faith until we got married. And God really taught us so much personally. And it was pretty challenging, some of it, but otherwise it was totally awesome. His ways of living. And I think we came to realize more and more, wow, we have absolute confidence in God's ways of loving. And the Bible is so practical and so full of stuff about that. And that, I think then we just, we didn't set out to develop the pre-marriage and the marriage course, but that's what happened.
That's incredible. Incredible. Okay. So thanks for kind of just even your own background, family-wise, marriage-wise, and faith-wise. So this series in the podcast is for marriage. And this specific focus for today is the little things, the daily rhythms and things that keep a marriage connected and thriving. For the both of you, are there certain rhythms or they might be the simplest things that you've done for each other within your marriage that have led to the marriage that you have today?
It's such a good question. We were so delighted to hear that was one of your titles for this series. Because it made us really think about what are the things now that we take for granted. Having been married, we have, there are things we think, gosh, we do that on a very regular basis every day, but it's become sort of more and more automatic. And I think, let me just say one of them that's very significant.
Can we just say before we do that, sort of just...
Well, you don't know I'm going to say it. Well, carry on.
You're going to get scared. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Go on,
but before we begin, we will get onto them.
I know exactly what this man is about to say.
Yeah.
I love
And I've just done the worst thing, which is interrupt.
I'll tell you if she's right in a moment, Adam. Go on, darling.
No, I think the context of this thing about what little things on a daily basis and, regular basis keep us connected. It's all about connection. Marriage is about connection and growing intimacy. And how do we build that? Does it just happen? Is it just luck? Is it just if you happen to be with the right person and you both, are compatible? No, we firmly no. But we do believe that there are things you can really do and put in place and be intentional about at the beginning, which really mean you will connect and you will grow in closeness. And why don't you quote the Archbishop Rowan Williams, as saying about, at Kate and William's wedding.
Rowan Williams, when he was Archbishop of Canterbury, he married Prince William and Kate Middleton. And on the BBC on the morning of the wedding, we just happened to be sort of watching it in the build-up to the wedding. And he said, I think this is an exact quote, I may have got one or two words wrong. He said, marriage is a really big commitment for the people. But it's not only a commitment that says, I'm going to stay with you for the rest of my life. It's a commitment that says, I'm going to carry on finding out about you for the rest of my life. There's always more of you to discover. And when we heard that, we thought, oh my goodness, what a beautiful description of marriage, and actually a Christian understanding of marriage, that there are infinite depths to the other person which we need to go on exploring. And the danger in marriage is that the longer we're married, the more we think we know what the other person is just about to say, what they're thinking, and we may be wrong.
We may well be wrong. And we have been married 49 years, and there are still things that we are discovering about each other. I mean, let me give you a quick example before Nicky then says his thing. Literally only about 3 years ago, I discovered that one of Nicky's favourite things to eat was mushrooms, and I had no idea about that before.
I'd been dropping hints for about 47 years.
And I thought, wow, if only I'd known that he liked mushrooms so much, I'd have done a lot more cooking with mushrooms. But now he has a lot of mushrooms.
Really a lot. Wonderful. So we do carry on discovering. I think, as Sila says, it is about connection, and that was in your introduction to the little sort of daily habits. And one thing for us is we seek to pray together each day. Now it's so much easier. Now the children have left home. And that happened quite a long time ago. Oh my goodness, it was easy. When the children were at home and they were coming in, can we get up? Yes, it's time to wake up, it's time to get them to go to bed and so on. It was much harder. But now it's much easier to manage it first thing in the morning. And, it's a small thing, but years ago we started this habit of asking each other, what can I pray for you today? Ugh. And it's a very simple question, but we realized it reveals what actually is you're anxious about, what is it that you're concerned about, what are your plans for the day, and so on and so forth. Which actually, and the answer is, A, you have to think about that, and B, often the answer isn't what you expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, marriages go through seasons. And as Nicky said, we're in a different season now. And we've been through lots of different seasons where your circumstances change. And if you have children, then they're first young, then they're teenagers. It's emotionally challenging. And you need different levels of support in different times and seasons. And then, there may be struggles with career or struggles financially, all sorts of things. And now we're in, it seems like a very sweet spot, I have to say, because we have no kids living at home, but we have the great joy of having 10 grandkids, and we see them a lot and see the family. And that is a huge blessing. And we're still working, but we also have more time to us and ourselves. So we can really spend, those patterns we set in place in the early years.
When it was tough.
It was really tough to pray
together. Find the time to be able to pray. And sometimes it was literally a couple of minutes.
But now we have the
luxury.
But
still asking that question, what can I pray for you today, has been a key for us.
Yeah, but now we have the luxury, and we can, read some Bible together and pray together and start the day with a very British cup of tea.
And listening to a very British person, our great friend Nicky Gumbel. We listened to the Bible in 1 year.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Any other like small rhythms that you would say, or even non faith wise, like any things, little things that you feel like, is there something specific that your each other does that you really appreciate? Is there a little thing that Nicky does or Sila does that you're like, this seems so insignificant, but to me it's a big deal?
Yeah. Well, this is actually really lovely since we moved into this new house, and Nicky has taken it on himself to do the vacuuming. And it's a big open space, and it needs a lot of vacuuming. It's got a hard wood floor.
And Adam, my life changed when we bought a vacuum you didn't have to plug into the wall. It has a battery. And I really enjoy it. It's so funny. I've never really done very much.
But it's like, if anybody's coming over, there seem to be dead flies everywhere.
Yeah, we have a lot of flies. Flies and spiders.
In the country. And if I'm basically the main cook in our marriage, and Nicky, before I even ask him, he's doing the vacuuming and he's making it look super clean and lovely. And I really like that.
So I often have to say to me, that's enough now, you can stop.
I think he's a bit obsessed with it.
No, I think Adam's question is the positive habits, darling, rather than...
But actually, and this is another thing that we've really sought to put in place, actually, right from the beginning, was to show appreciation, even for the smallest thing. I mean, Nicky is such a gentleman. So every time I get in the car, he usually opens the door and holds it for me and then shuts the door. And it's very easy not to say thank you because I'm so used to him doing it. But actually, I have to really think, okay, I'm going to say thank you. And like with the hearing, I need to say thank you. And it's that affirmation, but even to say it before. So like he also does a lot of the washing up. I mean, he basically runs the house.
I do a tiny share. Adam, it is not true.
And
Sila does all the cooking. I've never really learned to cook. I didn't need to. We got married a week after I had graduated from university, so I never had to cook for myself. My mother was a great cook. When we were at university, Nicky Gumbel did the cooking for both of us. He was a very good cook. But Sila does the cooking, and I appreciate that. I think I say thank you for every meal, and it's delicious, always.
But I think it's this thing of noticing what it is that the other person has done,
Yes.
and actually vocalizing something about it. Thank you so much for doing all that washing up from last night. And it just totally changes things. And when Nicky says, your spaghetti bolognese is the best in the world, thank you. I don't feel taken for granted. And it's so easy to simply take each other for granted. So it's those things, affirming each other, noticing each other, and saying thank you or whatever else is appropriate.
That was so beautiful. Share what you were going to share there, Nicky.
I was going to say, apart from the cooking and the washing up, where we sort of have slightly different roles and appreciate what the other does, meal times themselves are really important. And some meal times, breakfast, we will read the newspaper. We read it online, but, because we want to, and we appreciate actually the fact that we both want to do that.
We give each other that space. We know and we have an understanding, but we really make a point of doing that together. And then we also, the other thing is doing stuff like that intentionally together. We can ask each other about reading a particular article, and then what are you thinking about it and all of that. So there's a connection there because we're both up to speed with, whatever it is. But meal times are really critical. And I think probably we would say the single most significant thing we've done to keep our sort of marriage in good shape over all these years, is to have a regular weekly date together. And somebody told us that when we'd been married about a year and a half, and we had stopped doing it. And we'd got very, very busy. We were having loads of fun in our church with just being married, lots of friends, living in London. And we realized, wow, we had not had time, just the two of us. And we went away for a weekend with an older married couple, Christian married couple, and they were amazing. And we learned a few really good practical things. And that was one of them. They said, never stop dating. And actually, we really took that seriously.
And that was before we had children, we started. Then when we had children and life was really busy at work, everything was growing, the courses, Alpha, marriage course and so on, were growing, the church was growing. We had to fight for it, but it was actually the most important thing we stuck to in our calendar each week. And I think what those sort of habits that we put in then, and then we've kept going, and then it got easier again once our children have left home, as we said. But I think they've meant that we've carried on having fun together. And I would say having fun together and deciding that date night each week will do, is not always in the evening, actually, now it can be in the middle of the day, but doing something we both enjoy that is sort of stimulating, it stimulates conversation, we have fun together. It stops life just becoming routine and mundane.
And it doesn't have to be expensive. People think a date, oh gosh, the bar's very high. You've got to go, all guns blazing to a posh restaurant out or doing this or that. whatever. It does not have to be that. I mean, when we had young kids, I mean, often it was just a special dinner at home, but we would put candles on the table and make it really nice and, you know, put on music, make it really romantic, the whole thing. And it was special and different. And we would not talk. And, you know, then we might watch a film or whatever. And then we got very kind of like, you know, it's easy to sort of fall into a pattern. So what we started doing was, so that we would each own it, then we each decided we would take it in turns to organize what we did on our date. And that really, really made a difference. And I mean, sometimes it wasn't amazing, but other times it was really
And sometimes
amazing.
I'd organise it, Adam, and it was a complete disaster.
Oh my
I once
gosh.
organised that I thought, gosh, it'd be real fun. We live not very far from the River Thames, and we'd heard of a restaurant which was about 2 miles up the river, and I thought, it's great, we'll get the ferry, the river taxi up, and I'll do it as a complete surprise for Sila and have a meal at this restaurant and come back. So I thought we will get the 6:46 ferry, a taxi on the river taxi. And we get there and the gates are shut. There is no boat in sight anywhere. And then I realised the last boat was 16:46, not 6:46. So Scylla ended up making a picnic, which we had in the garden. It hasn't always worked, but it's been really good to keep sort of trying to be creative and inventive.
Yeah, and, you know, going on picnics and exploring different parts of London. We did, because we biked all around London. So we used to bike up the river. We'd bike to different areas, discover places. It was just always a different time doing something together. We love art galleries. We love looking at paintings and stuff. So we do that, you know, but we still do it now.
I love that. I was just at the National Gallery in London last month, and just it was beautiful. I need to highlight this. You just it was so beautiful to listen to you share. So many things I heard: praying together, serving each other, being grateful for the simple things, date nights, having fun together. Even just doing things, small things, reading the newspaper together. Like you just listed off so many things that is so helpful. Would you be willing to share little things when it comes to intimacy? Not even necessarily leading to sex. You could share that as well. But is there little things as far as like, it's so easy, specific. So we have 4 kids. Our oldest just graduated. Our youngest is in 5th grade. It's so easy to, even when we're together, it's easy to not have the intimacy per se. Yeah. What would you say as far as little things that lead to intimacy?
Well, the first thing I want to say is we have sought really all through our marriage to go to bed at the same time. Oof. And that is such a basic thing. But we have, well, I suppose each of us, have at various moments, potentially one of us or other of us could have gone to bed sooner or later than the other because of maybe coming in late from staff or young kids or whatever. But we really thought, no, this is what we want to aim for, and this is what we have done. And that really, really, I would say, is the foundation for us keeping our sexual relationship, alive and on the go. Because if one of you goes to bed and falls fast asleep, that's not a good start.
I remember, I cannot remember where I read it, who said it, but it was a little phrase somebody said about intimacy and physical touch. He wrote about brushing each other as you pass. And I thought, that's so interesting. I'd never sort of thought about that. And I think now I've made a habit of doing that for the last, I don't know, probably 40 years. Time, very, very long time. So it keeps the physical, even if one of you's, or you've had a real row and upset about something, just maintaining the physical touch.
Yes.
It's really, I think, for us has been very important.
Very. And actually, it builds anticipation. I think I mean, there are a lot of things to say about sex, but I think one of the things we say always when we're talking about marriage is sex is not just the icing on the cake. It's a vital ingredient of the cake itself. And there are lots and lots of things that really go to make that the case. And it's part of it is in the mind. It's the mindset.
Yes.
This is this is a very key way of staying connected, the bigger picture of connection on a daily basis. Now, it doesn't have to be on a daily basis, but it does need to be the physical, sexual kind of anticipation and intention is there. And often, I mean, we will have, because, I mean, we've worked together basically all our married life, and we're around each other a lot. We have the opportunity just to stop and to hug and to kiss each other and to say, I love you during the day. And that is, I think it's really incredibly important.
And we worked from home rather than an office.
Yes.
We lived in a vicarage, so we've always worked from home.
Yeah.
Together. But also that thing of, and you must say, darling, whether if I'm walking behind Sila, I will often stop and kiss her on the back of her neck.
Yeah.
And she often will just carry on cooking or whatever she's doing. Sometimes she'll turn around, but do you like that? I've never asked you. I sort of assumed you did. You never told me, that's really annoying. But it is little bits like that. It's the physical touch, it's the intimacy,
and it's
various points in the day.
Having your own language. I think you build up a very particular, we certainly have, build up your own language, certain signals, certain phrases, and who was it? Somebody said.
Do you mean about making love?
Yeah, about making love. And, the best sex starts at breakfast. And it's like, you're anticipating. Now, sometimes, and again, different seasons, you have to be very intentional about it. Like we have 4 kids, and when the kids were all under 10, I was permanently exhausted. And, exhaustion and sex don't go together very well. And so, we had to, that's why having a date night was so important, because Nicky really had to romance me. Seriously romance me. And I think in a marriage, it's not always that the woman needs the romance. Actually, sometimes women are not romantic at all, and the man is longing for romance. And but romance is about a private world that's all your own. It's just between the two of you. It's building that, which is absolutely not for anybody else. And you can do that, but you have to be intentional about it. And of course, the more you are intentional, the more it draws you together. There's something we always say too about in marriage, you can basically be in one of 3 places. You can either be moving towards each other, and you're connecting, like we're talking about, on a daily basis, in little ways, in bigger ways. And obviously your sexual relationship, making love is a very big part of that. But you can also be moving actually apart. Maybe it's very, very, very gradual.
Yes.
But you're not connecting every day. But there's a third position that we can be in a marriage, which is you're on parallel lines. And you're going in the same direction, you're living in the same house, you're sleeping in the same bed, you're eating meals, whatever. But you're basically kind of not connecting. You're leading pretty independent lives. You're doing what you need to do. You're doing your work. You're looking after the practical stuff, etc. And I think it's worth recognizing that all of us in a marriage, are we just a bit on parallel lines? And we go through seasons when we can be a bit on parallel lines, and we have to be very intentional to keep connecting.
So good.
And the intimacy is so connected to how well we're communicating
and an
with each
emotional
other.
level,
And communicating, and what I mean by that is talking about what's really going on inside. And I think for myself, the thing I've had to keep remembering and keep trying to practice is asking Sila open questions. For example, how I'm feeling is an open question. But also questions like, what would you like to do for our summer holiday next year? It could be 9 months away. What would, if we were going to change something about the house, what would it be? Anything like that.
No,
just
but
to
it's
draw.
more about the emotional connection. When we ask each other things like, what's been the best conversation you've had in the last month?
Yeah.
Or what was the hardest thing about that trip to wherever?
Yeah.
You know, so you're connecting on the emotional.
So good.
It's very easy only to connect on a sort of superficial level, on a practical,
and on a very
day-to-day
practical,
level.
because you've got to function as a couple, as a family, and so on. And it's getting under the surface to find out what the other is thinking and feeling. That's how the emotional connection.
And we are different as people. You know, there are certain things that I need from Nicky emotionally to feel loved and to feel special. And there are certain things that Nicky needs from me to feel loved and to feel that I'm with him on an emotional level. Well, and also, this plays in with the 5 love languages, which I'm sure you're very familiar.
So good.
5 love languages. Gary Chapman is a genius. God gave him such a brilliant way of communicating, really, and understanding how our partner ticks. And so for Nicky, the words are very, very important. He really, really feels great when I affirm him and with my words. And I can very happily not do that. It's really weird. I grew up in a family where my dad was brilliant at it. He was very encouraging, very affirming. So, words are kind of like, I just expect them. And, but to actually give them is, I have to be quite kind of thinking about it and remember to do it. And if Nicky's given a talk and I need to say that was really great, and probably need to say it about 10 times. And
Nicky, you and I are very similar in that. I'm a words person too. Words are powerful to my soul.
Whereas for Sila, it really is, the time thing is massively important. And because I'm very practical, I like to get on. I've got a number of things I want to get done. And I have to remember just to slow down, just to stop for a conversation. And if I'm doing something and having a conversation, for Sila, that's not a real conversation. You've got to stop and talk and spend time talking together. That's really important.
But it's interesting. I feel an emotional connection and closeness, like, for example, the breakfast.
Yes.
Having breakfast together, even though we're not necessarily talking, you don't have to kind of be deep and meaningful and intense all the time, because that's just too much. It kind of is a disincentive. You don't want to get together again because it's all a bit intense. But like that breakfast time, it's the time. It's the fact that it's just you and me, and we're together, and we're kind of emotionally connected. Whereas if we just had different breakfasts and doing our own
places,
thing, I wouldn't feel it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so good. Okay. So the little things are often easy to do when you're dating or newly married, but the longer you're married, it's easy to set those aside. So if I randomly ran into the both of you, whether it was at a park or at a coffee, and all of a sudden you started talking to me, whether I was the man, the husband, or the wife, and I was to tell you, well, in my marriage, we've stopped doing the simple things. We've stopped doing those. And what would you say to me, instead of to me and my wife, or to me and my husband, like if I'm the gal, like, what would you say to me, kind of a personal challenge? Because I think it's easy, what I'm trying to get to, it's easy to say like, oh, I want my spouse to listen to this episode and I hope that they start doing all the little things, like that's, what would you say to me or to the person who's listening, not to their spouse, but to me personally, if my marriage, we've stopped doing the little things?
I think one of the things I would want to ask you is, when did you last really listen to what your wife wants, what she cares about, what she needs? When did you last sit down and ask her, what can I do to support you? What can I do to help you today, right now? What are the things that you are anxious about and worried about. That's how I would encourage you and say, you may literally need to, and if you feel you've moved apart, like Sila was describing, you may need to make that a habit. Let's say, each evening, just sit down for 30 minutes together on the sofa and take it in turns to do that. Ask each other those very simple questions and listen. And when you've heard from each other, say back what you think you've heard to see if you really understand. It's that sort of deep listening, sometimes called active listening, which is absolutely key in rebuilding connection. And we've seen it. I mean, we've seen it through the marriage course again and again and again. When, on the marriage course, couples have times for private conversations. And these are the most important parts of each session, where they're just talking as a couple. And we've seen couples who are clearly disconnected, and sometimes even separated, not even physically together. And they start to have these conversations, finding out about each other, and they start to connect again. We can see it before our eyes. That's what's kept us doing it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say the same thing. I remember a couple who, I think it's a lot to do with communication.
Yeah.
And that, what Nicky's just described, is very foundational to effective communication, which is we have to talk at the level of our feelings and we have to be able to listen and then kind of reflect back so our partner feels understood, feels heard. And that's hard to do if there is sort of like distance between you.
Yes.
And I mean, it is really about kind of letting go of what I need and saying, how can I support you? How can I make your day better? I mean, there's a great story about that. How can I make your day better? And because we can get filled up with resentment so quickly. And then, and this is another whole topic, but it's very hard to connect and be intimate when there is unresolved conflict, resentment, anger, hurt, betrayal. And there's plenty of that goes on in marriages, breaking of trust and all of that. And so, that would be something that I would want to say, if you feel hurt, if you feel betrayed, have you forgiven? And that is a process to heal and restore hurt in a marriage, and then to begin to grow closer again. And that's challenging. That's really, really challenging. But it can be done. And we have seen it many, many times where, there's been real big betrayals of trust, affairs, or someone's discovered someone's watching pornography or whatever.
Yep.
And it really has to be owning it and both saying, sorry, we want to make this work. We can make it work, but you have to own it. You have to say, sorry, I didn't intend to, or I did, and I got it really horribly wrong. And then there has to be forgiveness.
So good.
And when that happens, it's amazing what can happen. And the healing can come. And then all of these things we've talked about, you have to start putting in place again. But it's about communication. And it's hearing what the other one felt and why. And often when people have had an affair, if they're really serious and they want to put it back together, often then the relationship is much stronger afterwards, because they start listening to why things went awry in the first place, and they start to put in place better communication, all these other things.
Maybe one slightly, because I can almost feel a person wanting to ask this question. So I'm doing the little things for my spouse, but they're not doing the little things.
Yeah.
And, I serve my husband, I serve my wife, and what would you say to me in that situation?
You're missing each other. And it's because of a lack of understanding of what makes the other one tick. Because we so naturally think that everybody should be like us. Everybody should think like us. We're really the ones who know what life is like. And actually we can be living with a person who actually ticks in a totally different way.
So good.
And that goes back to the Rowan Williams thing of finding out. And generally, when we start to miss each other, we may be doing some of those things, but the other one is just not feeling loved, is not feeling connected, is not. And we have to find out what those things are.
Yeah. And we've heard that question you've posed. What if I'm doing everything I can to serve my husband or wife? And often people feel they're working hard. It may be in the home, it may be out of the home, for the sake of their marriage, for the sake of their family, for the sake of their partner. But as Sila said, if that's not the thing that really makes them feel loved, they will. It's not that it's wasted. It's just that it's not going to build that emotional connection again.
Oh, wow.
And we have to find out from each other, what is it that you like me to do, not like me to do, etc. And of course, at the same time, we fully recognise it takes two to build a marriage. But if in a marriage, if both start to feel understood and valued and respected and loved, then the marriage starts to, it becomes a virtuous cycle of improvement, of feeling closer, of connecting.
And I think one of the things with young couples today, dual careers, a lot of connection globally, the internet, social media, screens. I mean, that is a big disconnect for a couple. Yeah. There's so much screen stuff, connecting with as many people as, beyond what you should be connecting with. And that takes away from your relationship. So I think it comes back to really putting some boundaries in and building these habits, really building these habits that you build in to your own unique relationship. Now, as we said, you go through seasons, you have to change those. I mean, we had a season where we were working very, very hard and it was quite stressful. And we suddenly realized we had actually stopped taking any exercise, and that's really important for us. Yeah. And so we actually had to really address that. And one of the ways we addressed it was we started this new habit whereby it was when we were living in London, and we lived very close to a park, Hyde Park. And we decided that in the kind of most stressful time when we felt like we had to go on working, we actually would stop and we would go to the park and we would walk to the park. It took us 10 minutes fast walking to the park. We would walk another half an hour around the park. And then when we turned and came back, we would talk. We would talk about all the things that we were kind of like working on and were anxious about, because there was quite a lot we were anxious about. And then when we turned, we would then pray. And we prayed about the things that we talked about and stuff. And it was absolutely amazing. And it would probably be about an hour by the time we'd sort of done that whole thing. And if you'd said to us, you've got to take an hour out, we'd have said, no way, we are just working flat out. But that was incredible. And it became such an amazing thing for us, our marriage, for us each individually, for our fitness, for our kind of lack of, worrying and all of that stuff. And it was just creating a habit and a routine that we could really get into that was doable.
Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to listen to this fun conversation between Adam and Nicky and Sila. We are honored that you listened, and we just couldn't be more grateful.
Yeah. Thanks to the Lees just for the time. I only hope at some time in the near future that I can bring you to Sioux Falls, South Dakota to do a marriage conference, because you guys would be awesome. Thanks to our partners, gosh, Generous Coffee and Vern Eide Motor Cars. These episodes wouldn't be possible without you. Thanks to all of you who listen in. Have an amazing rest of your day.